Good afternoon. It's the Illest Podcast, and thank you for spending your time with me today. I'm Pierre Sledge, your host, and let's talk about Deshaun Watson. I wanted to talk about this a little bit more. It actually came from a recent conversation I was having, and this person had some real thought-provoking questions, and I thought I would want to share some of them, as well as some of my statements and commentary or whatever on said subject. But here we go. So the person asked me how I would feel if Deshaun Watson was having an MVP season. And the first thing is that, well, you need to know how I feel about Deshaun Watson. And how I feel about Deshaun Watson is that I never wanted him here. Was I a fan of his skill and his football play in Texas? Sure, I was. I liked him at Clemson a lot. But he came here with a lot of baggage, a lot of known baggage that, in my opinion, was way too much to take on. You know, Cleveland has a dreaded history of things like this, or being known for these bumbling things or bumbling stuff, or not being New York or Chicago or LA, just all sorts of things. Cleveland is, I don't know, I'm not going to call it the country's butthole, but some people tend to treat it like it is, you know. But and I felt like this was just another blemish to not only take his baggage on, but you go way over top and you overpay to get this guy. You overpay in a historical way, you know. And I just had a problem with it. And I'll elaborate more. I felt like I don't have any children, but if I did, and my children saw this and were old enough to understand, I wouldn't want them to see how bad behavior is being not held accountable. Bad behavior is being rewarded in this instance, in my opinion. Now, you can say what you want, but have you read the transcript, the court document of what he was accused of? And I said that a long time ago, and my guess is a lot of people didn't. But what I read, I mean, I'm the type to give a person the benefit of a doubt. But after that, it was just like, well, you know, he did something here. And I'm not saying he did all of it, which he might not have. But what I saw there was enough to say, okay, well, he did something and he shouldn't have been doing that. One time was too much. So what blows my mind is how you'll get people to be very triggered and reactive still about this. And they don't know anything. They don't know about the actual case. They just know about the stuff that initially came out, but they didn't go further into it. So, you know, not well informed opinions. But so that's how I feel about it. So he asked me what I feel different about it, and no, I don't. I'm not a fanatic. Sports is entertainment to me now. Actually, it was never something I was fanatical about in terms of people, teams, players. Nah, it was nothing like that. It was something I was fanatical about playing and participating in. I like to play sports. If I could play basketball every day, I would. Every single day I would, if my body could handle it. But I enjoyed when I was in my prime, my body, my that was my drive to play and compete against other young men to see how I can take them out of their games mentally by just dominating them in certain aspects. So I enjoyed that. So I was fanatical about that. But that is that's a personal thing. I like the Cleveland Browns. I'm from Cleveland. I like the Cleveland Browns. I like the Cleveland Cavs. I like the Cleveland Indians / Guardians. I like them to some degree, but not enough to push my morals aside and get on board something like this. And I have people who still try to defend Deshaun Watson to some degree. And they start off by saying, hey, I'm not trying to defend the guy. And when they say that, you know what's coming next. But if, you know, this is always the but with the do-wrongs of the world. The but is, well, and with black people, it's always, well, some white person got away with it, so it should be okay for this black person. And to that I say, so you're saying you're going to remove any moral attachment you could have to this and just push that aside and err on the side of we got away with one. That's what you would prefer than to have something that was wrong go unpunished. I think that's absolutely choose my words correctly and carefully. I think it's very sad. It's just sad that we're so desensitized to the world around us, that we would be able to do such a thing. Me, I'm not. There's other people around me who are very similar, but there's a whole lot of people out there who, to be honest, they just care about entertainment more. They care about their team more, and they wouldn't care. I bet you there could be someone who murdered someone, but if he was a star player, people would look for some sort of excuse that somebody else did something and this was passed and all this. Is like, what does that matter? So you're willing to give away your morals and compassion towards someone who might have got murdered by this person that you happen to like. This is for real, though. This is absolutely for real. I have friends who like some of these entertainers to a degree that I've never seen. Because, again, I don't attach myself to entertainers. I like certain actors. I like certain movies. I like certain sports teams. I like certain players. But there's no pictures hanging up. There was when I was a kid, but it wasn't fanatical. It wasn't like if this person went and slapped the hell out of someone that I just look away and be like, well, he didn't, it never happened. I'm just not that type of person, and I never have been. To me, the things around me were more real. I felt like maybe the entertainment world is a great distraction and was a great distraction, but it just wasn't my reality. I was more interested in what was happening in my family, the things around me that were happening. And that may sound boring or crazy, but that's how it was for me. Sports was a cool getaway. But again, I didn't play sports to get away from anything. I played sports because I wanted to compete. It's just in me to compete. But others have this strong sense of attachment to someone they like, and it's unlike me, and I can't understand it, but this is how it goes. And I have people who will defend their person to the very bitter end, no matter what. It could be, yeah, he did that. That was wrong, man. That was awful thing he did to that person. He shouldn't have. I can't believe he did it either, man. But it's always the inevitable but. It's like, come on, man. Everything you preceded the but with was exactly what it is. That's exactly how you should feel. There is no but. It could be something that's definitive. Just definitive. It's they did something wrong and they have to pay for it. They admit it and whatever. But then there will be some sort of after the but, there will be some sort of almost like a sad compartment for this person. Like, oh, they didn't know this, but they didn't have a father or something like that, man. It'll go that deep. And I don't feel anything for that. I don't. I think there's a certain point where you got to know right from wrong. And if you don't, and you move in a way like some of these people do recklessly, or that they move in a way that I'm a star, I could do whatever I want, and then they get caught. That alone should signal to people that these people are just that. They're flesh and blood, and they make the same dumbass decisions that we've made, and worse. So why do you attach yourself? Can't you just like what they do on a court or field or track? Can't it just be that? Can't you separate that? It's entertainment, really. Sports is entertainment. It's not life or death. And we're just to this point where, man, if our team doesn't do this, guys, people get so mad that they don't even want to talk to you on a Monday, or they don't want to. People go on the internet and make threats and all this silliness. It's just ridiculousness to me. No team, no admiration should be that big. And this leaks right back into my previous episode about idolatry. We keep creating these stars. See, they would have you believe that you need them, but it's the other way around. All these entertainers, we create them. If we don't tune into any of it, it's like if a tree falls in the wood and no one's around, does it make a sound? Well, if someone is dunking on somebody and nobody's tuned in, is it really worth seeing? No. The answer is no. No one cares. But we do tune in. We tune in for every little jagged piece of minutia. And it's one of the worst things about our current society is that we fill our minds with these jagged edges that just cut through and release. I'm sorry, not release. It enters us. This, I don't know. It's clearly something that's addictive, but it just seeps into us, and it makes for not good human beings, if you ask me. I think human beings would be so much better without some of these current, I guess you would call them creature comforts that we have, or this advancing technology and all of these things. Just because something evolves or advances doesn't mean it's better. It just means it's, another iteration of something. But I don't see a lot of these things as better. And as I wind this episode down, I want to ask, how would you feel about that? How would you feel? Would you feel any different if whatever your opinion is of, the Cleveland Browns getting Deshaun Watson, or what another similar situation? Would you feel better if he was an MVP candidate and the team was doing quite well? Would that change your feelings? Do you feel like you would just brush that aside and sacrifice your morals for winning, for sports success? Could you do that? Would you do that? Do you think most people would? I do. I can't put a percentage on it, but I think if unfortunately, it's dreadful. It's dreadful that I think that most people, so over 50%, most people who are into sports will push that shit aside. What say you? Let me know in the comments. It's Pete. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.